today's topic: what should be my first motorcycle? And I don't claim to be expert on motorcycling or on anything for that matter, but I do have an opinion. I have just put about 1,000 miles between two motorcycles. I just learned how to ride motorcycle like 4 months ago, and my first motorcycle was Yamaha XT250 dual purpose little bike, pretty much, you know, air cooled, you know, single cylinder, you know, engine, very simple bike. The second bike is Honda CB500X. It is water cooled parallel twin 500cc engine. So this is kind of like an entry adventure bike. Initially thought that I actually wanted Kawasaki KLR 650. That was the bike that I thought was the ultimate bike for things that I wanted to do with motorcycle. And thank God I listened to people who were wiser than I was, and I actually opted for this little XT250. Well, what also helped it was that this little bike was a very good price. I pretty much put it, you know, for a couple $100 over the, actually I put it for $5,500 on the road, which was just $300 over the MSRP. When we're talking about the price, I also got this one, which also kind of came, price had a lot to do with it, because I also put this one for $6,800 on the road, and which was a couple $100, you know, over the MSRP. The question is this: why did I buy two, and which one should I buy? I should have bought first. That I really, when I was buying, that was the first thing. I had a very narrow window of permission to buy a bike. From, you know, that permission was from my wife. So that was my first criteria. What is my wife allowing me to buy? And she was more comfortable with something smaller like this than with something bigger like this. On top of that, I had also 4 other people, experienced motorcyclists, who were giving me advice. One was my brother-in-law, who said not to buy anything because he got fucked on one. Then I had another friend who was telling me to take MSF course first before I buy anything. And then I had a friend, you know, who was telling me to get something at least 650cc. And I had another cousin who was telling me to buy something no bigger than 200cc. And my initial thought was, well, I'm going to be mostly some rural back roads and off-road and stuff. So I thought, okay, dual purpose 250 was a good compromise. The reason I bought the second bike was that even though I was expecting to spend most of my time off-road or some kind of rural back roads, I spent it way too much time on the roads that were on the highways, you know, and kind of just regular traffic, where this little bike, actually, I didn't feel like I was very safe with it. So even my wife actually agreed that I needed something that can really kind of speed up a little better. Now, what I really think, I have about 500 miles, you know, on my Yamaha. Have about 500 miles on my Honda. Which one do I like better? The little Yamaha, I think, was a better starter bike. It was better because it kept me off the road. It was much more forgiving in making mistakes, which I made many mistakes, you know. Some of them, you know, like a dropping bike, pushing bike. It's much lighter, and it's a simpler bike, you know, to maintain. and to learn, you know, about the engine and stuff. Another difference that is between these two bikes is the weight. So the good thing about this lighter bike, it's much easier to maneuver, it's much easier to transport, and it's much harder to drive in the wind at a high speed. When I say high speed, I'm talking 50-60 miles per hour, you know, and, you know, occasionally going maybe 70, you know, but I try not to go 70, and I try to be between 50 and 60, you know. So the thing is, I really, like, if I look at like general driving speeds, I don't really think that I'm driving my Honda any faster than I'm driving my little Yamaha. Actually, I'm probably averaging maybe 50 miles per hour on my Honda, while on my XT I may be averaging 40 miles per hour. I'm talking, you know, getting like a regular trip, you know, not a traffic stop and go, you know, like a really slow traffic. I have to choose to have only one of them. I think I would I think it would be harder for me to separate from little Yamaha than from my Honda. For two reasons. First thing is, you know, with this little Yamaha, it's much easier to maneuver. The older I'm getting, the weaker I'm gonna be. So it's very forgiving. I can have more fun with it, you know. I can do stuff, I can climb the curves with it, you know, I can go off-road, I can climb the rocks, you know, I can go, you know, in these like a very steep and very, you know, there is like a water collection area, you know, where I can go ride that, you know. There are places where I go with the little bike that I wouldn't even dare to go with my bigger bike. On the other hand, you know, and the thing is, it's a simple engine. There is no water cooling, you know. There is less stuff to go wrong on the little Yamaha, besides Yamaha name, that there is on the Honda. Now, if I was going to use my motorcycles for commuting, I would probably keep my Honda, because Honda definitely has it has more pep, you know. It has good accelerations, you know. It can really pick up speed pretty much anywhere from 0 to 70 so far, that I've been 75. It really picks up, you know, as good as anything else on the road, you know. So I feel actually very comfortable, even though I am generally not comfortable to ride in the traffic. I am as comfortable as I can be on my motorcycle with Honda versus with the little Yamaha. Another thing, you know, that I really like about my little Yamaha is, if I want to go on a longer trip, I can just put like a hitch carrier and put it on the hitch carrier and hold it, you know, even with my little truck. For the bigger one, I could maybe do it on the bigger full-size truck, but it would be a hassle, you know. I mean, just the weight of it, of 430 pounds, is not horrible, but it's still too much, you know, if you're gonna be pushing it up and down the ramp, you know, and screwing with it and going off-road. It is just not a bike to go and load and unload and fuck with it, you know. That's at least my opinion. So that is what it is, you know. I love them both. I luckily can afford both of them. I bought them both new, and yeah, I want to keep them both, you know. So one criteria actually that I think comes before any other criteria when getting a new motorcycle is the seat height. The seat height, you're going to drop your bike, you know. Okay, I haven't dropped this one, but I did drop my first bike, you know, my Yamaha, many times in the beginning, especially, and well, because I was doing some stupid things. But here's the thing, not only that you can plant, so you have to be able to safely plant both of your feet on the ground when you're on the traffic sign, when you're somewhere. I see people tiptoeing, and then they say, hey, why do you just need to, it's not just about, you know, moving forward a little bit or just standing on the stop sign. It is actually maneuvering your bike. Okay, so you have to be able to move your bike both forward and to move it backward. You know, I guarantee you, when you're on the stop sign and you're too fast, you have to be able to go in both directions. If I'm tippy-toeing, if I'm a girl, you know, I don't know, I'm 5'10", 190 pounds, you know, this is 32-inch seat, this is about perfect for me, you know. So weight, and you know, this is actually probably one thing that got me away, you know, from KLR, because KLR is simply too high for me, you know, to be comfortable with. Is 500cc starter bike, is this something you're gonna grow out of? I think, you know, a friend of mine who was telling me that, oh, you should be getting at least 650, is right in some way, in the sense like, yes, you're gonna reach, you know, when you really feel I could use a little more power than 500cc. But the higher you go, I think, you know, no matter how big engine you have, and depending what you do, you will always feel you can go higher. And the thing is, you know, for 500, I understand, you know, that, you know, yes, sometimes I feel like I could use a little more power. But the thing is, then you get a more expensive bike, you're getting more gas consumption. I think, you know, that 500cc as a commuter bike, as a general purpose bike, is a perfect size, you know, for pretty much anything that you possibly can do with a motorcycle. You know, that's so far. I have been going from New York City, you know, at upstate New York, all the way to South California, and going to the Oregon, and going, well, I haven't been in Florida. I have never seen that you could go more than 85 miles per hour. This bike can go 85 miles per hour. Do you want to go cruise on 85 miles per hour on the motorcycle? I don't think I want to cruise 85 miles, you know, because enjoyable speed on a motorcycle for me is 55 miles per hour. And this bike can do this very comfortably and do it at 65 miles per gallon, which is absolutely perfect. So, is this starter bike? No, it's not a starter bike. It's a general purpose, perfect bike for anything. All right, that's it. That's it for now.